This right here is the Nacon MGX, officially licensed Microsoft Xbox peripheral for Android devices. The MGX has linear triggers, so they are pressure sensitive, which means you can gradually add pressure, which is particularly handy for racing games, for example Forza, which you can play on the Xbox Game Pass, and there's quite a bit of resistance to them as well, which I found when I tested out this device were very useful when it came to adding specific and precise amounts of acceleration or braking as you're going around the corner. It's not just an on and off switch. So you can gradually slow down if you want to, and you can accelerate with maximum power when needed. And if you're an Xbox gamer, the layout of the buttons will be very familiar to you. So we have the asymmetric, so a diagonal line between the two thumbsticks, and the actual thumbsticks themselves have a convex rounded surface, which means they kind of bulge outward. I personally prefer the concave style thumbsticks, but hey, maybe we'll see that on the next one. But I must say, they are very responsive. They're very close to the body as well, which keeps the MGX very streamlined when you look at it from a profile. And this is handy because you're going to be carrying this around, you're going to be putting it in bags. If the thumbsticks were longer, there would be much more chance of them getting damaged or being snapped off. And we've got the A, B, X, Y buttons in the classic Xbox colors. We've also got the view button and the menu button in more or less the same location as they would be on an actual Xbox controller, with the same icons on there as well. So you know exactly what these buttons do if you're an Xbox gamer. And there's also a D-pad on here, and this is something I wasn't sure how good it was going to be, but when I actually tested this out with some fighting games, for example Mortal Kombat, the D-pad is actually really precise and actually maybe better than using the actual joysticks in some scenarios. And I say this because the dead zone on the joystick seems to be very small, so that means they're very sensitive. So the D-pad actually is really useful for some games, and even more useful if you're going to be playing emulators on this with these more old-fashioned Game Boy style games. And then we do have the Xbox button there. This is also known as the Nexus button if you didn't know, and this doubles up as the power button as well. But when you're in the Xbox Game Pass, it does exactly what your Xbox button would do on a console. And just above that is a little LED to let you know when it's on and when it's off. And then above that, above the joystick, is actually a charging light as well. So when you plug this in, a little red light will pop up to say it's charging. And something that came to my attention straight away the first time I used this controller with my phone was how comfortable it is. The raised rubber padding on the back gives you a good base to grip onto, so it never really felt like it was going to slip out, even when I got really pissed off and had to rage quit a couple of times. And the rounded edges at the bottom of the controller are nicely designed as well. They don't dig into your thenar muscles and cause discomfort. So don't let me hear you say you never learn anything new from this channel, because this muscle group right here is known as the thenar muscle group. And Nacon have paid a lot of attention to the inlay on the MGX as well. So where your Android device will sit has been nicely lined with this rubber texture, so it's not going to slip around and it's not going to scuff the back of your phone, and it's very grippy. And your phone is never going to be in contact with any hard plastic, so it's not going to get scratched up. And when you extend the grip outwards, it opens up a space for your camera module to sit nicely into, so that camera module is not going to get scratched up either. And although Nacon do say this is only built for devices with 6.7-inch screens, I beg to differ, because I don't think they've factored in the folds. So in fact, it would actually be more accurate to say it can house Android devices up to 16.3 centimeters in height, because that's how wide the device can go. So if you've got a big phone with like a massive case on it, make sure you don't go bigger than that. But here's a little disclaimer when it comes to folding devices. Anybody who has a Galaxy Flip or something like that where it flips down on the vertical axis, be very careful, because the spring mechanism in the MGX is very strong, and if it closed that device strong enough, it could ping your phone halfway across the room. So I would stay clear of devices like this if you have a vertically folding device. Now, when it comes to power and connectivity, it has a 600 milliamp battery built in, and that doesn't sound like a lot, but it is. So this device uses Bluetooth 4.2 with BLE, which is Bluetooth Low Energy. So it doesn't use that much power at all when it's connected to the device, and that means it can last up to 20 hours on a single charge. When it comes to recharging the MGX, it only takes 2 hours with the provided USB-C cable. And if you're wondering about latency over the Bluetooth 4.2 BLE connection, it can be as low as 7.5 milliseconds, and us gamers know low latency is very important. And of course there are variables that could affect the latency, like if there's interference in the room and stuff like that. But given how close your phone's going to be to the MGX device when you're using it, I would expect it to have optimal low latency. So that's the design and features out of the way, but what's it really like to play games on it, and what can you play on it? Well, it's been purpose built for the Xbox Game Pass. So I've been playing games like Batman, I've been playing Mortal Kombat on there, a little bit of Forza. But check this out, if you're an old school gamer like me, you're really gonna appreciate this. I loaded up a bunch of emulators onto my Galaxy Z Fold 3, and back in those days, this was kind of the native ratio. So look how amazing Street Fighter Alpha 3 looks here. There literally are no portable gaming devices out there with a screen like this, and the Nacon MGX makes it possible. And this is the Redream emulator, if you're wondering, and you can get all of the Dreamcast games for it. It's truly epic. But if you're wondering if it works with Android games, it does. It actually works with most Android games. It doesn't work with Call of Duty for some reason, but I'd say about 90% of games you want to play on your phone, if they support controller, will work with the MGX. I did actually test this out with GeForce Now, and it does work. And you can even navigate the entire Android interface using the joysticks and the buttons if you want to. So you don't actually ever have to touch the screen. And the reality is, if you really wanted this to work on games that don't have control support, you can actually use a third-party app and map the buttons to screen touches. So if you want to get real techie with it, you can go down that route as well. So naturally, I've done quite a lot of gaming on this, and I can tell you, after prolonged usage of the controller, it is very comfortable, definitely more comfortable than playing with the screen on its own. That's really awkward and uncomfortable. It gives you a proper console game feeling, very similar to that you get with the Nintendo Switch. So my personal opinion on the Nacon MGX is this is a really premium built handheld device that can turn your phone into one of the most powerful gaming devices out there, especially if you add a Galaxy Z Fold 3 to it, and that device runs on a Snapdragon 888 with 12 gigs of RAM, and it's got a huge screen, maybe the biggest screen you can have on a portable handheld gaming device. In my opinion, it truly is an epic bit of kit, and anybody who loves retro games and more recent games like the stuff you have on Xbox Game Pass is gonna love this. If someone gifted this to me, I would be super happy. And I like it so much, I would actually go out and buy it for myself if someone didn't get it for me. That's how much I like it. If you guys have any questions about this at all, let me know in the comments below and I'll do my best to answer them. If there's anything you think I should have mentioned and I didn't, let me know as well. I'd love to hear that. And I appreciate you guys for watching this one. And if you got some value out of this, I'd appreciate it. Subscribe. And if you just subscribed, you're now one of the finest subscribers known to man. See you guys in the next one, so don't be late.